She who thrives. Phoenix rising. The true me. The ups and downs crazy in life. So take this journey with me. She who thrives. Yeah. Good morning, sunshines. Welcome to She Who Thrives, a podcast about embracing the grind of life while learning to shine through it. I'm your host, Janell, and before we begin, I want to ask you to please subscribe, follow, and rate and review. I really appreciate your love and support. Now, I would like to welcome a very special guest. I am so excited for her to be here because I stalked her for a long time before I even met her. um, and we became friends. She's my photographer, and I'm excited for her to be here. Gilmar Smith.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be the first guest in your podcast.
Yes, today's the second episode, but she is my first official guest, and I had to have her on here. And of course, because of her personality and how bubbly she is, I had to, let that rub off on me. So I'm excited that you're here.
Thank you so much. It's such a joy to be here and to be with you and see that you are making all of this dream come true with your book and now with your podcast. It's really, really amazing to see.
Thank you.
As she was saying, we started, I started as her photographer. Then you became my accountant.
Yeah.
And my friend, and now we're sitting here. So it's super funny because I was just listening to this person yesterday. I think it was on Instagram saying that it's easier for a client to become your friend than a friend to become your client.
True.
So I have figured that out too, because your friends are always want you to do things for free, or they're going to admire you from far away or something. But I have had throughout my years of doing photography that my clients become really good friends, and I have clients that fly from other states or drive hours just for me to take their pictures. And the funny thing is that some of them even stay at my house, and we just go out and our kids become friends. So it is so amazing to be here today and for you to invite me and to see how you're blooming. And
thank you. You remember when we first met? I was like, I'm still shy in front of the cameras, but I was really shy. Like I looked at your photos online, and it's just so inspirational how creative you are and how you put yourself out there and the stories that are told in your photography. So it was so amazing. So I know I wanted to do a photo shoot for my business, but I didn't want that regular, no offense to anyone, that boring black and gray and white headshots. I wanted to be something fun. So that's why I stalked you for a while before I was able to reach out to you. And I was afraid of it, but you brought it out of me after, I don't know how many mimosas, but you brought it out of me, and it was fun, and I enjoyed it. So it's like, I really love that about you, that you make people feel so comfortable.
Thank you.
And then, of course, I watch you with everything that you do, that you just came back from New York.
Yes.
How was that experience?
That was amazing. I started photography, for the people that don't know me. I started photography as I say, as a rebellious act against life and everything shitty that was going on in my life. And it was a dream, but it was something for me to hold on to life because I was so depressed. And photography has been my emotional outlet for so long. And it has opened so many doors. And I went to New York because I was invited by Nikon to be there to speak, to design a whole photo bay for a huge conference, to style the models. And then I was named one of Nikon USA ambassador, which is such a huge accomplishment for me and such a dream. But at the same time, it's something that I built out of nowhere. And I built it from a really dark place in my life. And I'm extremely protective of it because all the tears and the sweat that went into building this dream And at the same time, since I built it for that space of loneliness and grief and sadness, it also became like the little light that I want to share
Mhm.
with my clients and with everybody that is in front of my camera. Because if you see, my photography is very, very colorful.
Mhm.
I like to incorporate a lot of personality and humor
And props.
and props, of course. And it's just a way just to show the middle finger to
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
because since it was something that I built out of that dark place,
Mhm.
I didn't want it to be like something that will, pull me back down to that space of grief, but it
Mhm.
was something that it will transform absolutely everything. And that's what photography did to me. And that's what photography continuously did to me, because every time I check my email and the people that write me and the people that I have met in all of these conferences, or people that contact me to work with them, it's just like I'm in awe. But it came for the darkness, and I was able to turn it into something magical and colorful and bring joy to
And
people,
bring
and build these kind of relationships. And seeing you here, knowing you, and knowing what it was for you to write your book and just to put yourself out here, especially because you're shy,
Mhm.
and I know how how much
The
effort
challenges
and
that
challenges it takes just to do this kind of thing. So I'm super happy that you invited me and just to see
Yeah.
you today.
It's always amazing because I know when I was going through my stuff, arts is something that really brings something out of you. And you can just kind of like take yourself out of what's happening in front of you
Mhm.
and just be in like this make believe world that's so happy go lucky and all of this stuff. So it's like when I seen that, I think that's why I related to it so much, because I know what that is to be in such a painful spot in life
Mhm.
and then wanting to just create. But I know I have a creative mind, but I never really explored it. So now that I'm starting to dabble into some things, so I always say like, I wish I just could amount to what you do and be so out there, and I just love it. So before you did photography, what were you doing?
Well, I went to school for marketing, right?
Okay.
And when I got married, my ex-husband used to travel a lot,
Mhm.
so he wasn't at home a whole lot. So I took care. I was a stay-home mom, and that happened for a lot of years. And I was always trying to find that thing that really was my calling. And I tried several things, but at the same time, to me, it was like in my relationships, in my marriage and everything, I always sacrificed myself
Yeah.
in order to serve and to give and to be there whenever I was needed. Which now I look back at it, and I'm not proud of it, because you should never, put your dreams aside just for something else. But
But a lot of women, us as women, we're natural caretakers. So we naturally do that.
yes, and we are taught to do that,
Yeah.
which I think that I don't do that with my daughter, because I want her to be who she is 100%. And then if she wants to be a stay-home mom or whatever, that will be her decision. And I always
Mhm.
say, whatever you do in life is your decisions. But I want her to know that there are
There's
billion of
more things
options,
than
and there are
mhm.
more things than caring for somebody else or giving of your dreams, because probably for the person that you're married with, your dreams are not as good as
That's
theirs,
good. Yeah. Mhm.
so it wasn't until like pretty much after my son was diagnosed with autism, my marriage was falling apart. And my ex-husband bought this camera, and he used to buy so many things and never really used them, and I picked it up. And as I picked it up, it was like this door of creativity and magic that it opens for me. And then when I just started diving into Photoshop, I was like, oh my goodness, I can do all these kind of things. And it became my outlet. But then right after it became my emotional outlet, it became like this magical door for me to do things with my son. because whenever I wanted his attention for me to take his picture, he didn't care about it. He didn't want anything to do
Mhm.
with it. So I started developing this technique that I use still with kids and grown-ups and everything, that it was making stories and basing everything in storytelling. So I will sit with him and I will ask him, hey, um, once upon a time, and then he will say something, and then I will say something, and we will make this sketch and everything and this funny story. And that's something that I love about kids that we all have, but
Mhm.
we somehow lose it as we grow up. And I started making these sketches and all of that. And he will get so much into the concept of building all of this story that then I will tell him, how about if I put this in your head and this, and you pose in front of the camera like if you were the character of this thing that we just created? And it was like he wanted to be part of the project. He wanted to be part of everything. And that completely changed my mind about my approach to photography and to art and everything, because it was more about storytelling. It was more about the adventurous side of it or the
Mhm.
fun side of it than anything else. Then fast forward, I find the love of my life. We moved to another city. I get pregnant, and it was like some kind of magic that as I started doing photography, I started meeting these people, and they were encouraging me, and there were
Mhm.
people high up in the photography industry, and I was building something up. But then we moved to North Carolina, and I was put in bed rest for almost all of my pregnancy. So finally, when I give birth, and I was like, this is the time to get my camera. I mean, I'm just reducing this because it's a long story,
Yeah.
uh, and I got really bad postpartum depression, and it was like a completely loss of sense, just to the point that I would look myself in the mirror and not recognize. And I don't know if you have ever, or anybody have ever felt this, that it was such a disconnection that I felt like the life that I was living, it wasn't mine anymore, or
Mhm.
the person or anything. So in this desperation of finding myself again, I went back to my camera and I started doing like this self-portrait project. Every day, whenever my daughter was taking a nap or whenever I had a chance, I would take this super creative picture and super fun picture and posting it out there. And that caught so much attention to people because they were all funny and creative, and people will write me every day like, oh, this is so fun, this is so creative. But they didn't know
You were
that
suffering.
I was depressed, that I was completely disconnected. And it wasn't until one point that I was like, I kept doing it and I kept creating it. The ideas that I had were really colorful and were really funny,
Mhm.
mostly funny, that I realized I'm in connection with myself again.
Mhm.
I found myself again. And it was with my camera. So fast forward a few months after, because everything, like my life happened like a hurricane, like a tornado. It was just in a matter of 3 years. I if it was teared down and it was built up and teared down again. And my camera and my photography was always my outlet. So right when I was coming out of that huge depression and disconnection of myself, the love of my life passed away.
Sorry to
And it
hear.
was that horrible thing. My daughter was just 1 year old,
Mhm.
and there I was again, super depressed. I mean, nothing that have happened before could prepare me for what I was going through in that moment. And I remember one of the darkest night of my life that I was so sad. I mean, I was like in the lowest point of my life. And as an act of desperation, I started writing a list
Mhm.
of the last places, the last people, and the last everything, the last moments that I felt joy in my life. And of course, it was my kids. And at that time, I was in North Carolina. And my memories with my son at Disney. Uh, everything that I have do creatively with my camera, and I made a list, and I read it, and it was at that point that I was like, I have nothing left to lose. I couldn't give a flying fuck about anything, you know?
Oh,
It's just
wow.
like that lower point that I was
Mhm.
like, from now on, I'm gonna build my life and I'm gonna design it based to this list.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and it was like, and I think that's the beauty of falling down, and that's the beauty of going. I mean, I don't recommend it,
No,
but
I
you
mean,
learn
we
so
we
much from
go
it.
through it. Yeah, we go through it. It's not like if we plan to go into a dark spot.
Exactly, but when you are at it, I mean, to me, it was like, what am I gonna go? Am I gonna go, work for somebody else and not being present in my kid's life,
Mhm.
missing everything and living like I'm not living? No.
Yeah.
If this happened, now I'm gonna rebuild myself and I'm gonna rebuild it at my own terms. And I'm very picky where
Mhm.
where I put my face or who I pick to be around,
Yeah.
because I build myself from nowhere.
Yeah.
And I'm very defensive and protective of all of it, because I only know the nights that I cried and all that I have gone through. So I went ahead and I sold pretty much everything, all of my furniture, absolutely, like, bought my camera and my kids' stuff. And the rest, I got it on a truck and I drove down to Orlando to move to Orlando.
And how many years ago was this?
It was like 3 weeks after my fiance passed away.
Oh, wow.
It was in 2006. And I moved in and I gave myself about 6 months to a year. And I was like, I'm going to try this photography thing like full on.
Mhm.
And if I make something happen, if I feel like somehow this is working, this is it. There is no turning back. So magical things started happening. Like, I started writing for a magazine. I started getting invited to this thing. I started getting sponsors and all of that. And that made me believe in myself. And I was like, now that I believe that this can happen, there's no way that I'm giving up, you know? So, and it was beautiful, and it is still beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you, one of the things that I said, like, if I'm in a moment of need for money or anything, I will find something else to do, but I will never compromise the relationship that I have with my craft, with my
Mhm.
camera,
Mhm.
which to me, it means I will never shoot weddings. So, or I will never work for somebody that I don't believe. And
Yeah.
there have been times that I have found myself like, why am I working with these people, or what am I doing this is not what I'm in.
Yeah.
I just,
Especially because you are an entrepreneur.
yes.
So there's moments of struggle financially.
Oh, yes.
And we, out of desperation, we need that money. So we
Yes.
might work with people we would not want to work with.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's depressing.
Yeah, and it is the worst thing that you can do, because it really takes you away from your dreams and everything. And I have done it,
Mm-hmm.
and I won't do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really proud to where I am, and I'm not a millionaire, or I'm not, whatever. But I only know what it took for me to be here and to get here. And I'm a solopreneur. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have absolutely anything. In fact, I don't even have family that have my back. I take care of my kids by myself. I mean, it's pretty
This
much
is,
me.
yeah. So this is something that I always tell people that are going to get into entrepreneurship is, do not depend on family and friends to
Mm-mm.
support you. Those
Mm-mm.
are the last individuals that will support you. Not because they don't think you can do it. They're deflecting their own insecurities onto you.
Yes. Yes.
So because they feel they can't do it, they don't think you can do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the last thing.
I do have my older brother that is very supportive,
Mhm.
but as my parents, they have like a different point of view. And in fact, like I mean, there are so many things that I can just simply not explain to them. And I'm very, and this is the funny thing, because growing up, I was always put down, you are too opinionated,
Oh my
you
God.
have such a bad temper, you this. And I remember growing up that my dad or my mom, every time that I would get mad because I wanted to have my voice heard, because I have an
Mhm.
opinion, they will tell everybody, just ignore her. Just ignore her. Just ignore her. Ha! Now I get paid to talk in conferences and everywhere.
That is so funny.
So and I was telling my daughter just a couple of days ago because she was like, oh, somebody told me that I'm stubborn. And I was like, oh, that's a good thing. Girl. Never think, because if mama wasn't as stubborn as she is, mommy wouldn't have make it, you know? And for me, being English my second language, not being from here, and just by being recognized as one of Nikon ambassadors out of thousands and hundreds of thousands photographers in the United States and all of that, that for me is just like, oh my God, you know? And it's in a group of people that have Pulitzers, people that have Grammys and all of that. And I'm in that group and I'm just like, do I really belong here? And I was like, well, if they asked me to be part of this, is because
they believe in you.
I don't know. Yeah. And it is unreal. But
I seen the booth that you made, and that was so beautiful. Beautiful. I was just like, I want to be there. Just take pictures there.
But to me, it's just such a dream. And I do all those things as a dream, and I have to pinch myself and all of that. And I really have to see, to me, it's just such a rush doing all of those things and being asked to do those things. But what I really value is the moment when I came back home and when I sat quiet in a corner, and I remember everything that happened before getting to this, and all the work and the days that I put that over and over and over again on top of my bucket list. Or I wanted to do this, I want to work with this, I want to speak in this stage, or do this on that.
So everything that you have gone through molded you to be where you're at now?
Yes, definitely. And if you ask me today if I will change anything in my life or something, it will be such a scary thing, because obviously I will love my daughter to grow up with her dad and in a billion of things, you know? But I don't want to be the person that I was before, because all that pain brought me to be the person that I am today. And I really like me today because I have really worked for it, and I have cried so much.
Yeah.
And sorry. and you know, but
I think there's I don't want to say a funny thing about death, because there's nothing funny about death, but there's something that brings it out of you with death. I don't know about you, but I know I have a fear of dying and not being my full self before I die.
Yeah. Definitely. And not only that, it's just like, am I being my full self as a mother? Am I being present, and am I being there? Because that's the other thing. I could pay 1,000 of nannies or take my kids to after school and this thing. No, I want to be there because, and I think it's the beauty of coming and being an immigrant, and, you know, being out without my parents and all of that, that you get to experience so many things and break so many cycles. Like I felt so much somehow emotional abandonment growing up, that even as I'm working for my dreams don't mean that I'm gonna abandon my kids. And I'm not gonna give them the time. No, by myself.
Okay.
And you know, I want to be present in their life. And that's why I involve them in everything, in my photography, in my retouching, in everything that I do. And in fact, whenever my daughter start a new school year, she said like, Mom, can I bring these magazines in my backpack to school so she can show herself all the magazines?
There was one thing that you did for, I don't know if it was for your son or for your daughter, that it was Grandparents' Day.
Oh, yes.
I loved that. So
that's the
just
kind
to explain
memories.
it. She dressed up as it was a grandma or a grandfather.
Yeah, it was Grandparents' Day last year at school, and I was like, everybody's gonna get called to go to the cafeteria to have breakfast with their grandparents, and we don't have anybody. We don't have family. I was screwed. I have wigs. I have costumes, and I dressed up. I was terrified though, because I thought that she was gonna be like, "Oh, Mom, get out of here." But she had like the biggest smile, and she was so excited.
That was the cutest thing, yes.
Yeah, I love doing that kind of things with my kids. And those are the kind of moments, and that's the value of of being a solopreneur and
Yeah.
working for myself, because I can just take out of time whenever I feel to,
Whenever you want
or
to.
whenever I feel like my daughter is not like she needs extra hugs, or she needs
Mm-hmm.
me to have just a mom and daughter's day. The same with my son. If I feel like he really needs support and he really needs my complete attention, I can just drop everything, and I will always pick that time over work.
Yeah.
Always.
So with
Always.
everything that you have gone through and dealing with your kids and all of these new projects and being ambassador, do you feel successful?
I don't feel like there is that concept of that people talk about. I made it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that you make I like being a Nike ambassador was such a dream for me, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like on my bucket list. But now, as I say, I'm there and I got
What's
it, and I
next?
have to pinch myself. But then I'm in this group of talented people that are like my superheroes, and they create this amazing work, and they are like traveling all over the world, like being, I mean, you have no idea, like, and I feel like, oh my God, I'm the underdog. So you want to keep working, and you want to get to that level, and you want to keep evolving. I don't think that there is like making it. It will be like, okay, I reached this goal, I'm gonna sit and I'm
But
gonna
what's
wait.
your own definition of success? Because I think
Yeah,
everybody has their own.
everybody has a total
Mm-hmm.
definition of success. To me, being successful is having the peace of mind that I knew that I gave my all when it comes first to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So if my kids are in their 30s and they come to me, Mom, but you didn't do, or you did that, or blah, 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 because it's going to happen. It doesn't matter how good you think that you're doing
Yeah.
it. I know that I'm going to have the peace of mind on telling them I did everything that I could. The same with my photography, with my work and everything. I did everything that I could with what I had, and I gave it my all. And you know, the moments that I feel like I'm burned out or I'm depressed or anything is because I am not doing enough of what I love,
Mm-hmm.
or you're doing something that is not in your path, that is not supposed to be yours.
So do
So
you think that's your biggest challenge when it comes to like being depressed during the process, or
I think that it has a lot to do with life and the things that you have gone through, and probably just a matter of comparison of trying to be somewhere where you are not right now. And
mm-hmm.
to me, that has a lot to do, because I fall into these depressions moments, weeks, and even months
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and I'm really open about it. And life is a roller coaster, but in the moments that happen, I have to really sit and think, am I doing what I love? And most of the time when I'm that depressed is because I'm not doing enough of what I love. You know, and sometimes, and most of the time, I just have to lock myself in my garage and create beautiful things. And then I'm me again.
So is that your form of therapy, or do you get therapy from a therapist or counselor or
I've
anything like that?
never been to therapy. I'm pretty sure that if I ever do, I'm going to traumatize them for life. It's like, are you ready? How much time do we have? Do you
I've
have a
tried.
paper and a pen? Because there is a lot that I need to
I've
unload right
tried
now.
many things, many therapists, counselors, all different avenues, um, and I find myself that it didn't work how I thought. Like I can talk to them, and it still wasn't going to help me any. It was more of what you said. Am I doing what I love?
Yeah.
So depression and anxiety is just coming from a place that you're repressing yourself.
I think that you somehow need at one point like some other point of view, because
But
like
that's
in
what we have friends and liquor for.
yeah, but in my place, it just like sometimes I ruminate a lot
Yeah.
about certain things, you know, and you have to learn to get out of yourself, you know,
Mhm.
because life can get very lifey
Mhm.
sometimes,
Mhm.
and you know you have to learn how to navigate. But sometimes it's good to have somebody that tells you, hey, you are just doing this too much, or some kind
Or
of
get it
guidance.
together.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
but at the same time, when it comes to therapy, I think that it needs to be a relationship somehow. And I have gone through a lot, and I have pulled myself out to those really deep dark holes so many times. So tell me what you have been gone have what you have gone through, and what you have gone out to see if you are in the space somehow to understand. Because I don't know, if somebody have had like a beautiful life and has never been into those dark places, how can you help me? How can you?
That's what
So,
I say a lot.
and
Yeah.
probably I'm wrong, and probably I'm not, but I'm a very lonely wolf, and I work by myself, and I do everything by myself. And that have gave me so much superpower just to really navigate so many things, that for me to open up to somebody else is really, really,
Hmm.
I mean, I can open up and I can
With
tell
other
you
things, yeah,
everything that
yeah.
have happened in my life. But for me to make a space of somebody telling me, oh, you should do this or should do that. Why? It's really, I mean, it's complicated. It
No,
is
I know. I
complicated.
get it because I always say, if I'm not going to take business advice from you because you never ran a business, why would I
Exactly.
take any
I take business
criticism or
about you
anything?
because I'm uncreative. A business just take my numbers, Janelle.
And
Just.
that's the thing is, I always ask people, if what you're doing right now in life, is that something that you wanted to do? Or if was there something else that you want to do in life? I think I just naturally went into the finance industry because of me having to support myself at a young age,
Mhm.
and that granted me the opportunity to do so. But I don't think I would have chose the financial industry at a young age if I knew I could have done something else and support myself.
Mm.
So
What would you do then?
I would have been in arts.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I love
But you can still go for it. And the good thing is that you have the numbers thinned out. Because
yeah.
artists, we hate that shit.
And that's the thing. Right now we're going through the whole rebranding of my business, where I'm going to just be focusing on women in the arts and beauty industry,
Oh, fantastic.
because I have that numbers, but I love that industry. So it's like, why not mesh it together and be in that world? So it's like it was meant for me to go through everything I went through so I can be here and help everybody else in the industry.
That's awesome. I love
So
it.
that's where I'm at with the whole rebranding. So I'm excited. So but yeah, it's just hearing you go through these challenges, where a lot of people, like you say, we go through it but we stay quiet. And that's the reason why I did the book, so that way people can see that you're not by yourself. And I'm constantly speaking to different entrepreneurs, and they really do think that they're by themselves in this whole process, and they don't realize that it's ups and downs
Mm.
throughout the whole entire thing, and you have to pivot. You have to pivot very quickly, and sometimes I gotta sit there and be like, "Let me cry this out right now, because tomorrow when I wake up, I gotta get it together and go back out there and hit the ground running."
Mm-hmm.
So with that, what in your business, in your world, have you had to pivot very quickly? Any examples?
I'm pivoting every day. Well, but the thing is, like you say, pivot. But I'm being very, very dedicated to my whole thing, and
Yeah.
I don't think that somebody will have kept on doing photography, the way that I have done for so many years after all the ups and downs.
Mhm.
Because it's not easy. It's not an easy business, and you really, 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 and it's not like to make money out of it and to make it very successful. You have to really have to grit,
Mhm.
and you have
Mhm.
to have a style, and you have to have so many things. So I think that 2016 I have been doing this, and even when I was supposed to pivot, I didn't. I just stayed doing this because what it means to me.
Yeah. So during the pandemic, how everybody's on lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
were you successful during that time? Were you
But this is funny.
productive?
Oh, I was, because it allowed me to do a lot of personal projects, but at the same time, it opened so many doors for me. At that point, I was writing for a magazine, and I had already started teaching photography.
Mhm.
But during that time, all those places and those brands really needed content to teach and to keep
Mm.
themselves, their marketing and everything. And who do they call?
Oh, so it was great for you.
Yeah, it worked for me
Yeah.
because I was called to be interviewed or to teach on YouTube, or to film myself teaching
Mhm.
techniques, or writing articles about Photoshop retouching or photography techniques. So while so many people were like, what am I going to do? I found that, okay, I did two things. And then I can write these other companies and tell them, hey, did you need content?
Yeah.
Hey, did you need educational content or some kind of things? And, that's the thing, that being creative is not just creating beautiful art. You have to be creative to put yourself out there, and to really find your magic, and try to share it, and that has been my thing. I love and the first time, I didn't know that I love that. And the first time that I was invited to speak in stage, I was terrified. I thought that I was gonna throw up, I was gonna pass out. The worst. After the first minute, I was like, yeah, this is my
You
thing.
enjoyed the
Take me
adrenaline.
down from this stage. It's like when I do karaoke, I sing horrible, but take away the microphone from me because I'm going to punch you. So
it's the adrenaline. Do you like that?
it's just, I don't know. I just love it. And I really enjoy it. Do I get nervous like the first minute? Hey,
Mhm.
yeah. But then I feel at home. So
But if you're nervous at any point, it's like I don't see that on you. I don't see
I
it.
don't do it anymore.
No?
Just throw
Okay.
me wherever you are. I'm just
Yeah,
like, I do
I
it.
need to have those lessons from you so I won't be that nervous like
It's
that.
just finding my. I mean, I think that it comes for a space of being thankful,
Mhm.
and just by people asking me to do that kind of stuff or inviting me there. Of course, it gives you a little bit like a imposter syndrome. Like, what
Yeah.
am I doing? What do they
Yeah.
want from me? What did they see? And I was like, well, if they're asking me to do this, somehow they see something that probably I don't see right now. But it's just, I always said, and during that list that I was telling you about, I wrote something about becoming an alchemist,
Uh-huh.
and turning every single opportunity into gold. And you can find many, many interviews that people did
Mhm.
on me. And it's always the same thing. I'm going to turn everybody that I know and they give me the opportunity to do something that I love. I'm going to take that opportunity and I'm going to just take it to the next level. And that has been like my strategy. Just like, okay, you want me to speak here? You want me to do this? Okay, I'm going to take that opportunity and I'm going to make the best out of it. And that completely changed my perspective, and make me feel so lucky and so grateful to be there and being able to speak when everybody used to tell me ignore her. So it's just like reprogramming your brain, and
Yeah.
and just being happy where you are.
Whereas, I mean, I think ever since I was really young, for all that I can remember, I've always was very shy and quiet. And at a
I
young,
wasn't.
yeah, I was very shy and quiet. And then when I was about 4 or 5, they switched my languages on me. So it was like, then I was afraid to speak because I didn't make sense. So my first language was Spanish. And then
Okay.
they switched it when my dad left. It was like a big switch. My mom was just nothing but English in the house, but it's like, how do you do that? And then I was afraid to be outspoken. And then, of
Mhm.
course, the things that happened with my mom and stuff. So that's why now it's just like I gravitate to people that are very extroverted, that I think is very extroverted because I'm such an introverted person. So I
Mhm.
gravitate to that because then it brings it out of me that I can be bubbly and have fun. So with all of that, right now, what season are you in business and life and everything? Are you in like either growth, change, or
I'm
being
always
stagnant?
on growth. always on growth. I mean, I I don't think it's not like I'm not like content and happy with what
Mhm.
I am. Extremely content and happy of especially with that list that I tell you about, that I have to remind myself, like remember the days that you were dreaming about ever making this happen, and how far and how impossible it felt.
Mhm.
But I think that, as I said, as you have to be an alchemist, and I have had these opportunities and these beautiful things happening to me. So am I gonna sit and wait? No, I have to turn this and make it bigger and better and learn from it. Learn from it. And every day I just try to learn something new and put myself in a position that I'm challenged. And you know how I said, how people say, like, if you are in a room and you're the smartest person,
You
you are
need to
in the
change your
wrong
rooms,
room.
yeah?
Yeah. So I love putting myself into places that make me feel uncomfortable, that make me feel like I don't belong,
To
or
challenge
I'm not good
yourself.
enough, because
Mhm.
that challenged me to keep growing.
So I tell everybody, you have to feel comfortable being uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
because it's going to put you in different places in life.
Yeah.
And for a long time I was very stagnant because I didn't know what was going on in my life with my ex and business. I was just very complacent, but I was depressed because I wasn't challenged. I didn't have goals. I didn't have all of that. So to see other women go through, especially what I know what you've gone through, not to the complete extent. So this is new what I've heard today, and see that you go through it even though you're so happy, your art is out
Oh, I
there, and
cry every
so
day.
it's like it's okay to cry. So it's okay to go through this stuff, but it's okay to go ahead and just continue challenging yourself. So,
Yeah.
yes, I became an author last year or this year. It was published this year. And then now I'm doing, the podcast and all of that. So it's like women like you are my inspiration. So
Oh.
it pushes me to continue doing it. And so many other women out there, and the young ones too, seeing that I don't have any, biological kids. I have my fur baby, but I think about them and it's like, okay, how I look up to other people, I want people to look up to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so for the young ladies out there that are trying to get into the business that you're getting into, or just in arts in general, what would be the advice that you would give them?
Oh, never take any mansplaining. To start with, there is a lot.
Yeah.
Just I think that the beauty about being a human, the beauty about being an entrepreneur, the beauty about just going for what you love, is just embracing 100% who you are.
Hmm.
And whether you're, I mean, I'm an extrovert introvert. Like, I can talk here and blah blah blah, but then I will lock myself for 3, 4, 5 days at home and work, and I wouldn't need any contact from anybody, because I'm like that.
Yeah.
But it's just embracing 100% who you are, for the way that you speak, the way that if you make art, the way that you write, the way that you act, the way that you make connections, the way that you dress, is just embracing 100% who you are. And I think that will take you further than any other thing, because I mean, there are many copycats and there are many people trying to fit in and being somebody that they're not.
Hmm.
And I think that what really I love, people embracing themselves and having the bravery of say, this is who I am, this is why I create, this is the way that I talk, this is the way that I behave. And I think that there is beauty about that. And the people that recognize that is the people that you really, really, really want to be around. So I think that the successful artists, the successful entrepreneurs and everything have been themselves. I don't think that if you admire, if you read books, if you see any famous photographer or anything, was somebody that was copying somebody else. It was somebody that it really took the bravery and threw themselves out there with the whole selves and say, this is
And
who I
being
am.
open to being vulnerable.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Because the criticism that I've received and the backlash that I've received with the book or anything that I'm doing, it's a lot. And I have to say I'm grateful that I went through what I went through in my past, because it gave me one heck of a backbone.
Mm-hmm.
But the criticism and that hate really fuels me. So it's just like I talk and I'm like, you know what, fuck you.
Yeah, but to me, it's just like I know that my photography, I know that my accent, I know that my personality, I know that so many things about me are not for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
and I respect that because I don't like everyone.
Mm-hmm. True.
You know, I just like, I'm not gonna like, I love everybody. No, there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people that I don't like, you know, and I'm not going to change to please some other people, and
Yeah.
I'm not asking anybody to change to please me. So it's just a matter of just finding your tribe and who believes in you, and you know where you want to go,
Mm-hmm.
and the steps that you have to take to get there. So it takes a lot of bravery to be an artist. It takes a lot of bravery just to put your art out there, because you have the two sides. You have the numbers. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot change the numbers. Those are the numbers. I'm my accountant. That's what it is. There is no creativity about that.
Yeah.
But then in the creative side of things, when you are creating, when you're making something, when you're writing, when you're painting, when you're taking pictures, when you're doing that kind of art, you put your whole self into that. So there is that vulnerability, there is that soft
Yeah.
spot, you know, and people love to attack that. So you have to have a thick skin,
Mm-hmm.
and I've developed that, and I know that you know, I'm not for everyone, and I am not looking to be the right person for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm just happy with who I am, and take it or leave it. I mean, I'm not gonna push my pictures like me, please. No,
I
I'm
don't
not
know if
gonna do
anyone can
that.
say that they hate your pictures, but I know I can't say that. But we're almost to the end here. And
Oh,
I have to say I am
oh,
so excited with you being here. I'm saying I'm 100% grateful for you coming. It's truly you're so when I was really afraid that you were gonna tell me no.
no,
Because I
I
know
would
that
never.
you're very picky. So before we do go, is there anything else that you would like to share, or even share how anyone can find you?
I want to share how happy and thankful I am for you inviting me. And I'm so
Thank you.
super proud of you. And I'm so super happy I met you and I have you in my life. So I'm extremely thankful for this moment and for you.
Thank you.
So as for me, you can find me at Gilmar Smith everywhere. Gilmar Photography, and Gilmar is spelled with a G, but it's pronounced with an H. And that's about it. I mean, love me if you want to love me, hate me if you want to hate me.
Well,
It's-
I think this is a great episode. It's always fun to see you. It's always fun to be around you.
Thank you.
We do have to do another photo shoot, of
Of
course.
course, of course, of course.
I am also going on tour too, so I think I need something to do with that.
Oh, we're gonna go on
Um,
tour now.
but I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you're listening on podcast, um, you don't get to see me all sweaty and all blushy. If you're tuning in on YouTube, you get to see all of this. Very, very hard on myself, so it's okay though. But yeah, please do me a favor and share, share with your friends and family. If you can also leave a review, I will be reading them so that way I can improve all of this. But yes, thank you for tuning in.
Subscribe.
Oh, subscribe
share,
too. Sorry.
like.
Subscribe, share, and like. Thank you. But till next time.